All right, cut the mic. Welcome back, boys. Week 2, here we are. It's actually a tough week.
Numero dos.
Yeah. So, switching it up, like I said, as we go along here, we're kind of messing around with this new streaming platform, and we want to welcome in our newest member to Wilson Time, Durtle.
Hi,
Welcome. The Durtle Squad. So, Durtle, tell the fans what you're going to be doing a little bit over there.
I'm going to be running tech for the show, so I'll be going through Sleeper, fact-checking what the Wilsons say, looking at matchups, checking on players, doing all the back-end stuff for you guys.
It's good.
We'll bring in Diz a little bit with some feedback too, like obviously ask him some questions and get his insight on some things too.
Yeah, I'll definitely be chirping in about my own team, that's for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, no, it's good. Especially after we got called out by B-Johns there, with all of our facts kind of being misled. It's time that we get everything correct. So we are coming together, boys. Wilson Time is graduating on the production level, and we're moving up. So excited for it. We're here for it. We're here for it even after you take a big week 1 loss.
We got dubs, so we're good.
All right, round of applause.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, this is going to be a little bit different. And obviously, as you can tell over here, Diz is running the old sleeper. So you guys can see everything that we're talking about as we're talking about it. So that's a really cool feature with the StreamYard. But then on top of that, we'll be recapping the weekly recap within Sleeper as well, too. So we're going to change it up a little bit. And that way it's easier for you guys to follow along with what we're talking about. And it gives you guys a little bit more clarity about it as well.
Correct. Yes. It's going to make it easier for everybody, obviously know what we're talking about. I know you guys can go look at it yourself, but it's nice, too. We got the little ticker down below. Gives a little recap of what happened last week. I know everybody likes to see, their dubs if you got them. Pretty tough to be seeing Navy Steels down there shitting the bed. But, again, we are here for it. So let's talk about week 1. What a week it was. I don't really know how to put into a nutshell what happened last week. I mean, there were some really weird games in the actual NFL, and then we had some crazy matchups, coming down to that Monday night matchup last night. It's, I don't know, how are you guys feeling?
Yeah, I would say I was sweating with Cleaner. We were both really shit in the bed at the beginning of the day on Sunday, and I talked enough about Joe Burrow and T. Higgins, just to put myself into a comatose of sadness. But
Man.
But then
8 targets, 0 catches.
Yeah, who knew that Aaron Jones and the Jaguars D would save my day? So it all worked out, but it was not as convincing as I would have liked it to be. So it was good, but it could have been better.
Yeah, I felt scared going into week 1, especially with Mike having Patrick Mahomes put 20 points on me pretty easily. And then having Brandon Ayuk get 2 touchdowns in 5 minutes. That was pretty scary. But I feel pretty fucking fantastic about this week.
Yeah, as you should, Diz. As you should. I would say, man, my matchup, it was pretty much over from the jump. So it was we're kind of tied. And then the afternoon slate, I think Gobby got 3 TDs in a row from his players. It was Devontae got his TD, and then Mostert
and DK.
Mostert. Yeah, I mean, it was just all of a sudden an onslaught. And what was so funny to me and ironic is that when we were at the draft, Gobby was bringing up the inflated defensive scoring. I was like, maybe we should take a look at that because it seems like these defenses kind of getting out of control. Everybody's like, no, we're going to leave it as is. And then sure as shit, first week, my own beloved Cowboys put up a big old whopping 42. I'm like, I don't really know. It wouldn't have mattered, in my opinion, even if we adjusted it. I still would have got my ass kicked, but it was just kind of funny to see that happen.
Yeah,
that was a funny comment that Nut made last night was B. John's complaint. And, oh, if Aaron Rodgers would have played, and that was like the consolo was, well, make you feel any better, you might not have won even if he would have played. And Big John's is like, doubt it. And I was like, maybe not, dude. You probably would have still lost. Fucking your team shit the bed, bud.
Which was to be expected. I mean, I guess, talking about the first week there, right? Some of the surprises, I thought Brian's team putting up, what is that, 57.06? Like, yeah, I was shocked that his team shit the bed that hard. I mean, Lamar and that offense, it looked like they were doing things, but I guess not really. It's a lot of the run game. Damian Pierce, not much. I mean, I think Nutt said in the Podly that Pierce had his lowest snap count since his very first game, which is very surprising considering it's their best player on offense. So I don't really understand that. But again, like Cal and I were kind of talking about it, some of these teams, it's like they're gonna Texan around, they're gonna bear around. It's like, it's just what they're known for.
Well, I think it's just indicative on how everything's turning into like that passing game, and like everything's about the passing. And I think they've realized that there's no reason to run just one running back the whole time. Why not just mix it up? Because the passing game is really what's going to win you these games nowadays. You see it with all these different teams. The Bills last night were running 3 different running backs at one time. The Bears were doing it right. There was a lot of teams out there that were just getting a lot more workload from their backup running backs. Joshua Kelly, he had a massive share, and Austin Eckler still went off, but he was still getting a lot of work too. And that was a close game. You're thinking a blowout, Joshua Kelly's in there, but this is a close-ass game.
Right.
Like, oh, yeah, we'll still throw him in there. So I think it's just indicative of the running back position that we're going to be seeing that more often. So maybe your top hogs, running back-wise, might not be the top hogs all the time.
Well, so to that point, do you think there's a correlation with the value of running backs, like we've been seeing in the offseason, to how they're being utilized this year?
I don't know. Does anybody know what that noise is?
Sorry. Trone's texting me. Give me a second.
Oh, good old Trone.
Yeah. Outside noise.
I think honestly, it could be. I think they're realizing that wearing down these running backs isn't the way to go.
Right.
And so I think also a lot of these passing running backs are getting a lot more work now too. Like Roschon Johnson for the Bears, right? Like they realized Deontay Foreman wasn't running the ball good. So they're like, well, we're just going to keep Herbert got quite a few targets. Roschon Johnson got quite a few targets. They're just we're just going to throw in these shifty guys and who cares? I swear it doesn't matter. I think it's all about just the wide receivers nowadays. Those are your top scorers now,
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that you heard about Christian McCaffrey before the season started, how they wanted to pull him off the field a little bit more, try to preserve him. You kind of see that with Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans. Not every team's doing it, but I think a lot more teams are being conscious about how they're utilizing those running backs because they want, what's been happening the last God knows how long. They just run the running backs like normal and just keep pounding them. And then by the time the playoffs come around, they're all banged up and.
Well, yeah, also all these running backs that we love, that we are like, oh yeah, the best running backs, right? They're getting older now.
Yeah,
you're not there's a handful of young running backs that we're really excited about, right? But not really. Damian Pierce, we know he's good, but he's not Derrick Henry. He's not what Dalvin Cook used to be, right? And he's not Austin Eckler. Same thing with Alexander Mattison. He's definitely not Dalvin Cook. He's good, but he's not that good. So I think we're just seeing how little of the running back position, how much stardom there is now. All of the really good players are getting older.
To add to your guys' point, when you look at the points scored by the top running backs of the week, the amount of money you have to pay for these guys does not reflect how many points they're scoring. I mean, Nick Chubb, 13 points. Bijan Robinson, 14. You got Derrick Henry with 12. Josh Jacobs with 7. Saquon with 6. If you're paying, $40 to $50 for these guys, you need them to score 22, 20. You have to have that. And it makes us lose faith in the running back position, I feel like.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it kind of goes into how people were valuing the running backs going into the draft. You know, there were so many question marks with a lot of the top hogs that we're accustomed to, but the top wide receivers was almost set in stone. Like you kind of knew who they were going to be, and they were showing. I mean, outside of Jamar, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, let's see, AJ Brown kind of shit the bed a bit. CD, I don't know. It was just, but it's hard to tell. We're week
It's
one,
also the first.
right?
It's the first week, so it's.
Yeah, you don't want to overreact.
But if you look at this right, you're looking at the good players are still getting a decent amount of target. Like I'm gonna take the Bengals team out of it because I don't know what happened, but you look at these 9 targets, 11 targets. You know, all these guys are getting what they usually get, except for these blowouts. Like I'm not gonna look at this and be like CeeDee Lamb only got 4 targets. They were up by like fucking 30. Like. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you're not going to be just throwing it to CeeDee Lamb and hoping he gets injured, right? Like,
well, they even have the ball pretty much. I mean, the defense was scoring the points, and it was going right back to the Giants. But yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it's week one. We're not going to overreact. Yet there are some things, you know, that kind of stick out. So,
like Drake London getting 1 target. Dude, that I want nothing to do with that Atlanta passing game. Like you just saw, like if they're gonna throw the ball, it's going to freaking Bijan on a screen pass, and if they're not throwing it to him, they're probably just gonna run the ball with Algier. Like that was how it went. I don't want anything to do with that Atlanta Falcons offense when it comes to outside the running backs.
No, absolutely not. Nut was talking about Titans on the pod late, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I would still take Tannehill's shitty arm throwing the ball than Desmond Ridder, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not doing shit over there. There's no way. Or even, I guess, like the Panthers. I'd probably take them over the Panthers still, too.
That's what I'm saying. Let's get rid of the fucking tight end position. You basically, if you're not starting Travis Kelce and maybe Mark Andrews, you know, you're basically starting a turd.
But dude, the freak, man, the freak was wide open.
It doesn't matter. Like the average tight end is getting fucking 3 points a game. We're literally, what are we even doing with it? Like, can we just put PPR on tight ends only? Because if you don't count receptions, they're getting like 20 to 30 yards a game.
So what do you do? Are you talking about getting rid of tight end positions? We're just down a position? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying maybe, I don't know, or like something, make it so like the tight end position's actually like worth something. Like at this point.
Yeah, but then there's some argument like in past years where there's actually been a handful of viable tight ends that do things. So
tell me in the last couple of years. Tell me. Cole Kmet was 7th last year, dude, and I don't even know if he'll crack top 10 this year.
I'm not talking the last 2 years, but I'm talking like back in the day, Rob Gronkowski's, and you had, I'm trying to remember all the tight ends. I don't really pay attention that well, but
look at this. Friggin' doo-doo.
Yeah, I know. It's week one though. That's what we're saying. Week one, and there's also
it is week one, but the reason why I bring this up is
graveyard right now.
But it's the reason why I bring it up is because other podcasts talk about it, and they're like, it's honestly a dead position.
It is.
Like So they're like, unless you get Travis Kelce, or Mark Andrews, and maybe George Kittle, but George Kittle gets injured quite a bit. You know, it's just.
So does Mark Andrews.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're injury prone. You're not going to get a lot of points from them. It's just when Gabi said, "Let's get rid of the kickers," I'm like, I'd rather have my kicker than my tight end. Like I said, it's just the way it is. There was a handful of kickers last week that put up over 10 points. There was literally like 3 tight ends that put up over 10 points last week, and 2 of them were on the waiver wire.
For me, I'm just like, I've been riding the tight end carousel pretty much the entire time we've been playing fantasy football. So I don't mind it. In a way, it's kind of fun and funny to watch people trying to figure out the tight end position, like Calvin last year, you know?
This is all I'm going to say about it right here is if we look at the players of the week, tight end player of the week was Freiermuth, who literally got injured and caught 1 pass for 3 yards and a touchdown. He was the leading scorer on everybody's starting tight ends with 6.3 points, and he got a freaking 1 catch. It's just like that position is like I would much rather have a kicker than a tight end at this point. Like he almost died and he got 1 catch. That was it. and they took him out of the game, and there he is.
That's an argument for another time. We already walked in, so we're all going to be riding that carousel this year.
Well, everybody just think about it. It's kind of just a pointless position.
Willie's wild ride. Well, kudos to Durtle, though. I mean, highest total of the week, 132.
Yeah. I want to add one thing to that. Nuts talking about my depth and everything. When you look at my team from last week, I mean, sweet Jesus. But so maybe it's a fluke or anything, but I scored 132 points, and I had Jalen Hurts score 12, which we all know he can do more than that. Rashad White shit the bed. I wasn't expecting him to do anything. And Darren Waller also didn't do anything because the Giants were getting blown out. So I basically had 4 players poop the bed, and I still scored 130 points. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not taking Jacoby Myers to get 2 tutties a game, though.
No,
Get that out of here.
Yeah, it just depends. Like, that's an overreaction for week 1. But it was weird because, like Gobby's team like scored 124 points, but the likelihood of him getting over 40 points for a defense is like if his defense would have just scored their projection, he would have been in the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can take 42 off of the score. Jesus.
Like, and Tyreek Hill's not going to play the fucking doo-doo Chargers defense every week. Like, I swear the Chargers defense has the highest payroll almost and just the worst production. I don't get it.
It makes no sense. They have talent on that defense too.
Everywhere.
I think never could pull it together. I don't get it.
Nut probably knows who the defensive coordinator is, but isn't Staley? Isn't he supposed to be a mastermind? He's ass. Like if he's
was
there
he a head
just
coach at one point?
Who?
Staley?
I don't know.
Well, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. He sucks. So I gave out my surprise of the week.
Staley is the head coach, Dylan.
Oh, see, this is how much I pay attention to who's coaching that team. Well, whatever.
No,
he sucks.
He
dude.
is the head coach.
Kellen Moore, honestly.
But the reason why he got hired was because they were like, "Oh, he's really defensive mindset. Yeah. He's really good." They've been doo-doo every year that he's been there. Like, they just give up points after points, yards after yards. It's insane.
Yeah, no, negative 4.5 points last week.
Perfect.
But, yeah, so my surprise was Lamar's putter knots. I was pretty shocked for a team that started with $250 going into the draft. That is not what you want to see your first week. I know it's week 1. We're talking about overreactions, but, man, dude, that's scary, and there are some question marks with some of those players. So, I mean, Dotson, I like Dotson a lot. Don't get me wrong, but as your wide receiver 1, oof.
Yeah.
Well, and no, he's not wide receiver 1, Stephon Diggs.
That's right. I forgot he's got him in the flex.
He got him in the flex. But no, it's true. Like this, it kind of is almost like. So you had Calvin who had $150, right, or whatever. And you have Brian with $250. And I look at both of them. And remember what I said about Calvin week 1? I said his team looks fun. Like, I look at his team and I'm like, they're fun looking, woohoo. But is that really going to come to fruition? Brian started with $250 and he picked up these guys. Like, I love Stephon Diggs, obviously, Lamar Jackson, these guys, Mark Andrews. But everybody else, it's fun to look at. Like, it's fun to think DeAndre Swift is going to be amazing on the Eagles, right? And he didn't do anything. He was ass. But it's fun to think that. It's fun to think that DJ Moore is going to be the reason why Justin Fields takes the next step forward. It's fun to think that way, but is that really going to happen? And it showed in week 1 that he's not. Like,
how many targets? Can you pull up how many targets DJ Moore had again?
2. Mm-hmm. He got 2, both of them for 25 yards.
Yep. 2 for 25.
12 and a half. So crazy to me. Like, Note was bringing up in the pod league. They traded the first-round pick to get DJ Moore. I wanted another pick, but I mean, that's not what you shouldn't be trading that just to get that kind of production or not utilize them.
The Bears' offensive game plan literally was like this. I don't think they practiced or anything the whole week. They walked in right before the game and they're like, we're playing a football game today, guys. Let's just go out there and have fun. And they had there was nothing coordinated. Like, you couldn't even tell what their game plan was. Like, how are you going to go out there and give DJ Moore 2 targets? How are you going to give Cole Kmet more targets than, DJ Moore? The running back situation, like they didn't know who the hell to play half the time. It was just like a discombobulation with the Bears. They don't look any better than they did last year. They look actually almost worse than they did at the end of last year when they actually started putting things together.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, again, Bears are going to bear for whatever reason. You can bring in as many offensive coordinators as you want, change it up. It's still the same results year in and year out. So let me ask you guys this. Is Bijan the front runner for Sacco? Are we pegging that already? Are we pegging him already?
I think he has to be. I mean, it's just so torn up right now.
It is tough.
Do you want to go over his really quick? So we have Rodgers, toast. Look who he's starting. Jerick McKinnon, Valdez-Scantling. Really? Like he's
not good.
I like that he tried to go for a tight end too. That was like, hey, I might care a little bit and get the tight end on the Eagles. He did pretty well and just lays a goose egg.
Yeah, I mean, unless that Gus comes out and does something now.
Yeah, I think that's the only bright spot from his first week, right? Is the fact that Gus might come back. But Gus also had that big ass injury, and we saw Javonte looks good, but he's not what Javonte was. Like if Javonte Williams before his injury last year had 13 carries, there's a strong possibility, right, that he's going to get close to 100 yards.
What are you talking about? We're talking about Bijan's team.
No, I'm saying about Gus Edwards. I'm talking about how he's coming back from his knee injury last year.
Yeah, but they play on two different teams.
No, I'm saying that you come back even from a knee injury doesn't mean you're going to be as good as you were before. Like Gus Edwards was like trucking people before he tore his knee in half, and now he's coming back. I don't expect him to be.
Was that last year that he got injured, Gus?
No, he came back. He came back last year. Last year was afterwards. But last year he didn't. Like he was J.K. Dobbins was out, right, for most of the year.
Yeah, J.K. was out for most. That's how he ended up on the waivers.
And what did Gus do last year? Look at that. He didn't even. Like what are these? Like this is an RB1, like on a freaking run first offense.
Yeah,
true. I mean, you can make the same argument about Javonte Williams. Looking at the stats that he pulled up, pretty shitty before he even got hurt.
But if I have so that's what I'm saying with Gus Edwards is like, well, yeah, nice, cool, whatever. He might be the number one option there, but it's just like Javonte. I would have thought if Javonte had 13 carries last week before his knee injury, 100 yards, but now we're looking at like 50 yards rushing. He's still coming back from it. It's just I don't see that Gus Edwards is going to be the sign there. I think it's going to be a committee thing with Justice Hill or whatever, and Lamar's probably going to be mixed in there. It's just going to be a shit show.
Well, it's bad too when they're elevating Melvin Gordon up and bringing him back. God, old Butterfingers. I wonder how many what the over under would be on his fumbles this year.
Man, fumble year.
He said that he fixed his fumbling problem.
You have to go with like at least like over under like 4.5 or something, right? Like,
yeah, how many you have? 1, 3, 4, 5. I had 5 fumbles last year.
Yeah, so we're like the over under is like we're gonna set the bar at like a little bit less than that. That's really bad for a running back.
3.5 or something.
It's literally your main job is to hold on to the ball.
All right, so if you're one of these managers that's already been dealt some blows, what do? It's week 1. You don't want to overreact, but you also have to act because, I mean, if you think about Big Dobbins, already out for season, Rodgers out for season, Cooper Kupp, you're not really sure how long. I mean, what do? Do you start liquidating your hogs? Do you try to package somebody up?
I don't know if we want to sit here and talk about things yet. Like you want to talk about, just go back a little bit with you talking about Bijan's being. I think even though Trone won, if it wasn't for that Jets defense, his week was looking pretty tough, and he just lost J.K. Dobbins too, and he doesn't really have much to stick in there. So I think he's kind of falling down there a little bit. But I think that you with Bijan's, he can salvage it a little bit by putting up that Goddard for a trade. Because if there's somebody out there that really just wants to get a tight end, because we know Goddard's not going to put up 0 catches every week. He's too good of a player. Right. So somebody will bite. Somebody could possibly bite on that. Like the tight end position is ass, and Goddard is much more viable of a tight end than anything on the waiver wire. And also, he had a tough matchup too. He was against New England. They have a very good defense. So, yeah, they do. And I benched them because the Jaguars went off.
I was actually surprised how well the Pats D handled the Eagles. I mean, it's not like they manhandled them, but I mean they managed it pretty well, kept them in the game.
Yeah, I think that they're obviously going to have to hit these managers are going to have to hit the waiver wire hard tonight. I think I think somebody's going to overpay for Justice Hill by a large margin.
Oh, 100%. There's going to be some fat money put down on him.
Yeah, we're talking Justice Hill. We're talking Gus Edwards. Both fucking sliced and diced their knee up less than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Justice Hill fucked up his leg, like we're talking these guys. And then also you have Lamar back there. And that offense just was like, I don't know what they're not supposed to be a run first offense anymore either.
If I'm remembering our league history correctly, they're always in that first week, there always seems to be like one guy that everybody's gunning after, and a bunch of money is dropped in the first week. Like I
can't remember who it was though.
And maybe you can dig around there, Durtle, and pull that up for us. But it always seems like that first week, because we've seen those waiver wire gems in the first week, and it's like you have to almost like strike, at the beginning and just see how it plays out. But there's always it seems like there's one player out there that somebody ends up riding for the rest of the year.
You mean like for COD, the Curtis Samuels of the world?
Yeah, Curtis Samuels.
He was not that good. Like COD spent a lot of money on him to pick him up, and he was better than what COD had. His wide receiver options were dog shit, but he didn't put up he wasn't doing anything special every week. It was just like, oh, this guy can get you 7 points a game. It's like, cool, but you just unloaded your whole wad on him.
Yeah, well, a guy that wasn't really bid on because he got picked up right before the game started, but Elijah Mitchell, I remember him coming out, So
wasn't that fresh?
That was fresh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember very distinctly waking up and Trey Sermon was getting scratched, and I was like, what is happening right now? And here comes little Elijah, and then Preacher Sermon was just gone, dude.
Because the Preacher was brought up, I just wanted to say, because I haven't finished the pod late, but I was listening to it, and I heard him talking about the close victory and how, there's been really close victories. I still want to put mine up there. Besides the one where Nut lost by 0.1 point, I still want to put up the Trey Sermon 1 run for 7 yards at the end of the game as one of the most bullshit things ever. Does not sniff the field in the last play of the game just for no reason, a 7-yard run. Didn't even get the first down or anything. And they were like, all right, you're out, bud.
Go and get out of there. You got steal his victory.
Yeah. Man. So I was just thinking about that since we're talking about Trey Sermon a little bit.
My pod was so hard that day. But yeah, I think with Trone's team, right? He's got a bunch of wide receivers, and he's got a bunch of wide receivers, and it's like, okay, you can't start them all. So
you got those rookies. You got Zay Flowers, and who else has he got down there? He's got
Olave, Cortland Sutton.
He got Jordan Addison too. So he's got two rooks down there too that have also keeper implications along with them. With Trone's team right now with J.K. Dobbins going down, there's no reason to have 6 wide receivers that you could potentially start every week in your flex.
Well, right, and especially against week 1, but it's got to be pretty concerning to see what happened with Cam Akers in that game.
Very much.
You got to think that he's got to be looking at addressing that running back position. You got a plethora of wide receivers, a lot of big names in there too. Again, with that keeper value,
Is this just not the epitome of a freaking Cam Akers game though? 22 rushing attempts for 29 yards. Like, how many times have we seen Cam Akers average less than 2 yards a carry? I feel like I've seen it so many times. And then, at the end of last year, he did good, but I feel like this is indicative of what Cam Akers is.
Well, so he was splitting touches and everything. What's his backup's name? Is it Kyron Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy's going to be picked up tonight, too, for probably a decent amount of money.
Which is, it's so strange how some of those running backs were being deployed, because you would expect if the Rams were blowing out the Seahawks or they had the game in hand, then they would bring in Kyron Williams. But that game was pretty close throughout most of the day. So I don't really know what's going on out there as far as these committees. There's a lot of committees happening in the running back rooms for a lot of teams. And I think we're just gonna have to, you just kind of have to take a gamble. I mean, if you're gonna go on the waiver, you're just placing a bet. Like, man, I hope this hits. If it doesn't, well, back to the drawing board, I guess.
Let me ask Wilson Time this: if you guys are, if you were one of the teams trying to go for a running back on the waiver wire between Justice Hill and Kyron Williams, which one do you like more?
Well, I don't think I'm gonna tell you, bud.
Well, this isn't gonna be released until tomorrow. I don't care. Like, to be honest, like I'm not gonna splurge my load on either one, and I actually probably need a running back pretty decently compared to most people. But I don't trust Justice. The Justice Hill thing is we pull up his stats real quick. Diz, just click on him. I know he got the 2 tutties, but let's see what his production was. He had 8 attempts for 9 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the reason he had 2 touchdowns was they're literally on the 1 yard line. Yeah. And I just don't believe that they won't run a QB sneak or something like that, or a RPO with Lamar Jackson. Like, I just know that he's not going to pull up 2 touchdowns probably again this season. And like I said, he's also coming off a major injury, not a couple of years back or whatever. So I still don't, and they never really worked him that much. He's been more of like a passing down guy.
Yeah, he's smaller back. He's so inefficient.
I like Kyron Williams more. The only reason why I like him, but I also don't really trust him too much because that Rams offensive line is supposed to be awful, and I feel like the Seahawks just looked so bad. And I don't think that's actually truly what the Seahawks are going to look like. But I'm more impressed with this stat line. Obviously, he actually had over 3 yards a carry. Justice Hill sniffed 1. Mm-hmm. It's but also at the same time, Cam Akers is so freaking unreliable. Like, he's so boom or bust. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And the love and hate relationship that Sean McVay has for Cam Akers, you have no idea what's going on. Sometimes they're like, he's our guy. He's going to be great. And they're like, you need to get out of the building.
Yeah. We're escorting you out.
Yeah.
Now, to answer your question, Diz, I'll probably put a bid in for both. I'm not going to splurge, though, because my team doesn't really need the running backs. I got to address some other positions.
I'm so good at running back for all this.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm great at it. I'm just saying there's some other positions I need to be looking at a little bit more.
And the way I look at it, too, is I expect, the Rams to be down a lot more throughout the season than the Ravens. And if you're the Ravens, and you're up by a lot, who are you going to get the ball to? You're probably going to give it to that big old freaking Gus Bus. You're not going to give it to Justice Hill. And then 2, is if you're the Rams and you're down by a lot, we know why they liked Williams last year, right? He was supposed to be the passing down back. They didn't like Cam Akers in the passing game. So, but I still don't trust them, either one of them. They might be a good fill-in for a bye week or something like that, but I don't know. That's the problem, though. Freaking, now they got Melvin Gordon coming back up. There's probably a chance Melvin Gordon's going to play more snaps than Justice Hill this week, and then you just splurge your load on Justice Hill.
Yeah. It always kind of seems to work out that way, where there's one player in the committee, because there's be a couple guys that are going to get put in there, right? But they always put all the hype onto one guy, and then it ends up being the no-name guy that gets the starting job or is just killing it just out of nowhere. So it's so hard to dial in on these situations when a running back goes down. They're like, okay, we're just going to bring up all these guys. It's kind of, you're just throwing shit out the wall and all right, what sticks?
Let me ask you this question. Okay, so for both of you guys, what are we thinking now that Aaron Rodgers is gone? how do you guys feel about the Jets offense? Like Brees Hall looked really good, but the Bills also looked not very good. Um, but how do you guys feel about the production here? Because yeah, Garrett Wilson gets a touchdown, but really, if he didn't get that touchdown, he was having friggin' he's dealing with Zach Wilson, who can't throw the ball outside of a barn.
Yeah, exactly. And even on that touchdown that he caught, I mean, Zach Wilson threw it far away from him, and Garrett Wilson just
Yeah,
good enough to tip it back to
it's
himself.
an amazing catch, right? Like he had to literally do an amazing catch just to catch it on like a little like out route, just a little fade route.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about the Garrett Wilsons, the Dalvin Cooks, the Allen Lazards, all these Jets of the world?
I
Well,
need to see more.
I know I'm pretty much going to say that the expectations for the wide receivers, well, in particular, Garrett Wilson. I mean, there was people talking about Garrett Wilson being the number one overall wide receiver this
Mm-hmm.
year with Rodgers
I
coming
said it.
in. Yeah, it's not going to happen now. He can still crack top 10. I just don't see it with how Zach Wilson plays. I don't believe in him, dude. He can be like a game manager, and sure, Aaron Rodgers mentoring him and everything. It's like I'm sure he has progressed and gotten better. I just don't see him elevating Garrett Wilson to that kind of status. But I still think he's going to get his. So I could still see top 10. The rest of the pass catchers, I don't think they're going to do shit, man.
Um,
And I'll say from being a Brees Hall manager, the one thing I look forward to with Rodgers is that the guy can keep the chains moving. And defenses are going to respect Rodgers. Where Zach Wilson, they're like, okay, we're going to stack the box and see what you can do, bud.
look at that
So,
stat line.
One attempt.
They got
That's
sacked for 10
that's
yards.
10 yards.
but I think I, I'll, I was super excited about Brees Hall last night. I mean, the way that I was like, I don't know how this is going to shake out. They're talking about easing him back in. What's that knee look like? And dude, he's just out there busting off fat run after fat run.
I think that's like the problem with that's the one thing that I'm like was that stat line indicative of how good Brees Hall is or how unprepared the Bills were? The reason why I say that is because the Jets offensive line, like they were talking about it last night during the game, and we all know this, the Jets offensive line just aren't good. Like
Yeah.
they're not a very good bunch. And that was one of the reasons why they were saying they were kind of upset about this. A lot of people were talking about how the reason why Aaron Rodgers got injured was because they don't know how to block properly. Like they were like, because the reason why he got hit was on a chop block that Dwayne Brown tried to do. And Aaron Rodgers was telling people, I don't like when we do chop blocks because they don't always work and you let an edge rusher get at me really fast. So I'm saying like the offensive line is not very good. We all expect the Bills' blue wall to be way better than they were last night, right? The only turnover they got, that was a horrible throw by Zach Wilson. Like, so I'm
Yeah,
just
but
wondering, is it indicative of Brees Hall being so good or just the Bills' defense not being very good?
okay, but think about it this way. We saw what Brees Hall was doing last year before he got injured. And if he's actually back to like his normal self, I don't see why he can't keep doing that. And with that defense, I feel like that defense got even better than it did last year. And so if that defense can keep them, in competitive games, then you have the defense on the other team out there longer, and they're going to just try to pound the rock with either Dalvin Cook or Brees Hall, maybe wear him down. I think the running
Because
backs are going to be fine for the most part. Dalvin looked a little bit slow as is. I don't really know how to feel about Dalvin right now, but overall, even for Brees, all of them are going to come down a little bit. I mean, again, it was up to Rodgers to keep the chains moving for him. He was going to make things happen on the offense. You lose that now. The expectations have to drop.
yeah, I guess if you take away that one run by Brees Hall or whatever, you're looking at like 4 yards of carry for the rest of them for Brees Hall. So I'm just wondering if you know it just seems like I would be weary of it. But I still think he's obviously going to be better. But I feel like I'll see Brees Hall in the sense of like Damian Pierce last year, right? Like Damian Pierce was good last year, but like it was the fact that his quarterback play was so bad that because we're talking about Mike White. Mike White was way better than Zach Wilson was last year. You don't have Mike White anymore, so it's like Zach Wilson. And if they don't bring another QB in, you're just running Zach Wilson every week.
Yeah. No, I know. I don't really know what to make of it. It's a hard.
I think it limits a lot of things, but I think Brees Hall will still get his, but I don't think he'll do as because I think that Bill's game plan was more around Rodgers, and then once he went out, it was kind of like a free for all. It was kind of like, oh well, we didn't plan for a Brees Hall attack now, right? We planned for Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball at least 30 times.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree.
I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's a weird situation to be in, especially if you're an owner of any of those players on that team.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't be feeling good about it. I don't feel the best about it.
How do you guys feel about Josh Allen throwing 3 picks last night? You could flip that the same question you're asking, right?
Yeah.
Does Josh Allen have a really big fucking interception issue, or is the Jets D just that good?
You know, I didn't realize that Josh Allen led the league in interceptions last year.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest thing is Josh Allen is it's just kind of like with his running abilities and stuff like that. He's just careless a lot of the time. Like that first interception he threw to Tariq Whitehead or whatever, dude. He didn't have to throw that. He launched that bitch like 55 yards on the field, way over his wide receiver's head, and that guy just caught it like over the shoulder like this. It was like, why did you even throw it? You know. And they were like, well, it's the same as a punt. It's like, yeah, but like fucking you're throwing it, like fantasy wise, you're throwing an interception.
Did Jesse lose because of that?
Oh,
he
I would have to say, yeah, easy, 100%.
Yeah, he lost by 3 points, 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
Oh, and a fumble. There you go.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That's what I'm saying. He's careless. Like, he's supposed to not be running that much this year. He ran 6 times and fumbled twice and then lost one. And then, like I said, he just throwing bombs down the field. It's like he almost thinks that the defense can just hold on for long enough that he can, and, that they'll just score enough to keep, the play to like he can play however he needs to play. And I'm just like, dude, no, that's just 4 turnovers. Like, that's not good. Jets defense is good, but I don't think they're that good where Josh Allen has to look that shitty.
Yeah, I mean, when you let one defensive back just have your number all night long, I mean, you got to change something up, right? You can't just be throwing the exact same person.
Yeah.
Which is kind of 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because Josh Allen, the picks that he was throwing to Whitehead, he's a safety, right? So watching that over and over again was literally the same as if I was watching Bryce Young playing against the Falcons. Jesse Bates had his number, like both interceptions for Bryce Young, right up the middle to his safety, and it was just like a horrible read every time. That's what Bryce Young was doing, right? And he's brand new. Josh Allen was doing it, and he's been in the league for freaking 5 years.
Well, Josh Allen's always been known as a gunslinger, so it reminds me of like Tony Romo back in the day. I'm not comparing the two, like absolutely, but I mean, it's that same mentality where you're just going out there and you're just kind of playing like backyard football sort of thing. And it leads to a lot of mistakes usually.
Yeah. So it's such a weird thing. But all right. Well, obviously I think we can say the consensus is that week 1 was really weird. Some people had really good games, right? Like we got Diz on here who had a really good game. Dobby got 42 points from a defense, but then there's also some shitty things. Brandon lost his QB1 for the year, and there was a lot of teams out there that we thought would be quite a bit better, such as, the Shimers of the world, and they shit the bed. So let's move on to the matchups now, though.
Beautiful.
Yeah, let's get into those picks.
We're calling that. What is this again? Puds picks.
Pull it up.
Yeah.
Picking Puds.
Picking Puds.
I'm trying to find her.
So
where is? Just keep talking. I'll get it going.
Real quick, the Nut Report too. First one came out. Again, it's just power ranking, right? As Nut would say, but it is interesting. Diz number 1, Gobby number 2, Tro number 3, Nut number 4, Red number 5, Jaden number 6, COD 7, Trike at 8, Jesse at 9, Brian at 10, Cal at 11, myself at 12, Alec at 13, and Brandon at 14. Do you guys see any much of a shakeup as this goes on?
Well, yeah,
No.
I think it is like, no, I'm number one for the rest of the year, brother.
It's my year.
I think there'll be definitely be a shakeup. I know you and Cal obviously will splurge your loads later on and buy yourself at least hopefully a playoff contending team. I hope
Can't
people
help but spend
don't
that
do
money.
that. I hope people don't do that though, because I would like to see you and Cal both in the Sacco playoffs. But
Well, don't worry, bud. I'm already losing money in bets right now. So
yeah.
I already lost $1 to Gobby. I got the Khalil Mack against Max Crosby for $2, which I was just telling Diz earlier. I don't know why the hell I ever made that bet. Just fired up, and
I love that you made that bet with me because you were so convinced that you were like, dude, Max Crosby's a fucking bum, dude. Khalil Max is hard. It's like, all right,
Max Crosby is very good, and he looks like he does drugs before the game and after the game.
It's the Raider way, baby.
I think there'd be a shakeup. I like nuts. Obviously I like nuts. The way it's laid out compared to like if you look in sleeper, because sleeper just goes based off standings, right? Wins and losses.
yeah.
But I think it's very true. Like I would definitely look at this and say, oh, Jaden over COD's win and Scheimer's win, because he put up a decent amount of points. Team looked good. He just didn't get the W.
Yeah.
So I see obviously a shakeup going on. I
No.
expect my team to play a lot better too. So I think I'll shoot up the rankings.
Same, buddy. I will not be in that bottom tier. I was living there most of the year last year. Had to rise from the ashes to win this beautiful hunking piece of shit. All right, well, let's get to picking puds. So we'll just go down the list as we usually do. We need to remember who we picked
I'll just have to
week.
we'll have to go through it afterwards, and then we'll just have to update it.
Classic Wilson time.
That's fine.
It's fine.
But all right, so yeah, let's just start going on the list, which is yours and one and only, the Ghost of Elvis and the Durtle squad, and we're up first.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's kind of interesting now because Diz usually isn't here, so you usually can just. It's just one of us picking this one, but should we let Diz pick in this scenario too? Like, or just
no.
Oh no!
Well,
You versus I still. Okay, so Dill, I guess you're the only one really choosing this time.
I will pick.
Don't let the projections scare you, bud.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Durtles, man. Durtle's got some good matchups this week, especially for his primed hogs. And Red, you got that Aaron Jones. I don't know what's going on with that hammy over there.
Hey, he said that it's nothing to worry about.
And you got Herbert running against that Buccaneers D, which they're pretty good run D still. Yeah. It could be close. I mean, if Rachaad White shits the bed again, and Joe Burrow actually comes out and teaches.
Yeah. Say.
You could throw in that Samaje Perine. I mean, it could be closer than what the projections, put it at. It really comes down to Aaron Jones. If Aaron Jones plays, especially against Atlanta's defense, I'd be feeling great. But if they limit him or he sits out this week, it's going to be tough sleddings, man. You got to keep up with Pollard there. You know how I feel about the Penny Packer.
Yeah, he's going to
that man is guaranteed 2 tutties a game.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck yeah, Willie, keep talking.
I mean, he did it last week. He did it multiple times last year too. I mean,
we're for Gobby. What are the first 2 starts of the year? You have against the Giants. You have the Cowboys defense against the Giants, and now the Jets with no Aaron Rodgers.
No, well, we're not there yet.
I'm just thinking about it. Like I'm just looking at it because Penny Packers going against the Jets D. So I was thinking about it, and then I realized that it's Cowboys versus Jets, and I'm like, fucking goody.
So it comes down to 2 things, right? For me, it comes down to does Aaron Jones play, and does Jacoby Myers play? Because I'm not really sure what you're gonna do there, Durtle. If Jacoby has to sit out, you're gonna be rocking Tyler Boyd. You're gonna be rocking
Hell yeah, brother.
Rondale.
I might. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just praying he comes back, dude. Dollar store Devontae. That was a heater of a game last week.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give the slight lean to Durtle. I just like the matchups more after what he just did. The Hogs got all prime matchups right now. You get the nod.
Let's go, Durtle.
Right. So we go on to the next, and we got the Sun and Sons versus Steel Bedpan.
I had to have Durtle explain to me what a steel bedpan was.
Isn't that something that some people just piss
Can
in?
you give an? Yep, there you go. That's pretty much
it. Piss and pot.
No, yeah, it's like when the steal is because he's a Steelers fan, and also COD. Why are you not playing your keeper? I know it might not have been the best play, but why buy him and then not play him?
I was the whole time I was thinking that same thing. So I'm glad you said something about that, Durtle, because I was like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, you pay for this guy and you don't even use him?
Yeah, but a steel bedpan, so obviously steel for the Steelers. A bedpan is what they would put under like someone in the hospital that can't move, and they just shit and piss into it, and then they just pull it out and throw it away.
Hell yeah, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, his own little outhouse, just like COD squad.
Well, I'll go first on this one, and I'm taking Nut, and I think it's honestly going to be probably the projection's pretty spot on here. I don't just that Steelers offense looks so bad, and I don't even know where to think about like what to do with Najee. Like I don't even feel comfortable starting Freiermuth after that, even though he got the only touchdown for the team that last week. It was just so bad. It was. And you don't play the 49ers defense every week, but now they're playing against Cleveland, and Cleveland just shut down the Bengals. So
yeah,
I think there's a lot of.
Nut doesn't even have a kicker in there right now, so that projection's lower than what it should be. I mean, I'm going Nut, man. Even with Garrett Wilson having a tough matchup, the rest of it seems fine. I guess we'll see what happens with Eckler. I don't like the ankle thing there, but. And Anthony Richardson, he's already banged up. Najee's going to doo-doo the bait. I'm telling you, man, that running game is just such trash.
Man, 5.1 yards per carry. It's just shitty.
Yeah, the problem is they just can't get any momentum.
Yeah. You're also playing negative game scripts most of the time as the Steelers. So you're abandoning the run and going to the passing game. And yeah, dude, I'm just like thinking to myself, out of all the people you could have traded for in the offseason for a keeper, you go and get Pickens. That's just fine, right? I'm not dogging on Pickens so much, but then you go and draft Najee. It's like, dude, you get Kenny Pickett. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Why are you clicking?
Yeah. It's not good. There's good stacks and there's bad stacks. You don't stack a running back and a wide receiver on the same team. They're eating from each other.
Yeah, exactly. You're only lowering your ceiling from there. Unless they're like two like incredible hog players. Like if you had Christian McCaffrey and Debo or something, okay, maybe you can make an argument for that, right? But Pickens and Najee?
It just doesn't sound good.
Come on, man.
Come on, dog.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go on to the next then. So it sounds like we both got nut in that one. So now we got just Joshin and we got the Tender Tears and Pussy Hairs. So Jesse versus B Johns.
Which B Johns, I love that name. That's catchy. I feel like that could be like a strip club or something.
Well, I don't really have to think too much on this. I think Jesse, is. We're not going to see another Josh Allen again like that. But dude, B John's team just looks so bad already.
Bro, he needs to go make a trade right now. Like right now while we're doing this show. The depth on this squad is so piss poor.
He's so lucky that J.K. Dobbins went down, dude. Because as soon as J.K. Dobbins went down, he was like, I'm throwing Gus Edwards in there because I cannot be rocking that Jerick McKinnon again.
Well, B. John's trying to wait it out for Cooper Kupp. I don't think he's going to be able to. I think he's going to get in such a fat hole by the time Cooper comes back around, and we'll see how he even plays when he gets back. Like, dude, you got to make some trades. I don't know if he's got to liquidate Nick Chubb or what he's got to do, or Kelsey. But yeah, I'm not picking Bijan's squad until something else changes.
Yeah, I just think he started out with a draft that we were all like it just wasn't very fruitful, and now we're even looking at it and it's even worse than it was before.
Yeah.
We've only made it like 10 days since the draft.
Yeah, and I imagine Jesse's team's going to be fine, like I don't think Josh Allen's going to shit the bed again. Like, he's got the Raiders this week, bud. And so I think he's going to be fine. All right. So we're going Jesse over Bijan's.
So let's go to the next. And,
I just thought about, didn't we last year each pick a matchup and then we went head to head? We're both picking matchups right now.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, fuck it.
So we got the Wallow Wombats versus the Positive Regression, which is obviously Steven versus Sweet Baby J. And I'm taking Sweet Baby J. Sweet Baby J's team was looking quite nice. Quite nice. And I'm telling you, until I'm not picking Steven's team. I won't pick Steven's team unless he's matched up against like the CODs of the world, or like the Cleaners, or the the Brandons of the world. I'm not doing it. His team looks flashy, but I'm not doing it until I see something real fancy out of him.
Yeah, it's tough because you'd expect Bijan to be out there just bell counting it. I think like we were talking about earlier, maybe the Falcons are like, we don't want to run him into the ground. So we have a pretty good running back in Algier. Let's utilize him as much as we can as well. Kind of the same thing with Gibbs, and Montgomery. So I still think they're going to get theirs to an extent, but dude, Deshaun looked like shit, man. Kind of irritated that I drafted Amari because it's like every time red zone flashed over, it's like, oh, Deshaun in the dirt. Deshaun in the dirt. I'm like, dude, lift your arm up a little bit more or something. Like, what are you doing out there?
Yeah,
there was one interception where I don't know if he was falling or whatnot, but he just kind of like, and he just like floated right into the defender's hands. It's like, what the fuck was that?
I can't remember what his name was. His name was like Dex Hill or something like that. But yeah, it was one of the worst. I remember watching it on Red Zone, and they're like, we don't know. Like the announcer was like, I don't know what that was or whatever, because it was like he could have just like went down or just threw it out of bounds, and he was just like, and just like it was just like a little lob to like the guy standing like 5 feet in front of him. I was like, what was that?
When you look at the stats too, I mean, even for fantasy, Deshaun did pretty all right. 20.66, and he got an INT and a fumble.
Well, it's because he rushed in a touchdown, which that's what Deshaun's going to give you. I mean, he has that ability, right? He can run it. Yeah, I'm going to go Sweet Baby J as well. I think something worth monitoring, which, I guess for Jaden's not the biggest deal, but it could be a headache each week, is like Clyde Edwards-Helaire starting the game for the Chiefs. I didn't understand that at all, dude. So I don't
Deontay Johnson's going to be out too, so he's got to put somebody in his flex as well, and there's not much to choose from on the old bench there.
No, I know.
So it could be close, but I still take Jaden in this one, just because, man, there's a strong possibility that freaking with that Zach Wilson plan, it's going to be the same game plan against what the Giants were. Like you might not see a lot of CeeDee Lamb out there, and then also Odell did that offensive passing game besides Zay Flowers did not look good, and that was without Mark Andrews.
Yeah,
you put Mark Andrews in there now. Like, you only get 3 targets when they have no Mark Andrews. You put Mark Andrews in there, he's eating up 8 targets a game.
No, I agree. And
it also just didn't look like the separation wasn't there. He made that one decent catch, but besides that, it was like that was way late in the fourth quarter when the game was like basically won.
Well, and Browns played the Steelers too, and those AFC North divisional matchups are always like slugfests. I don't really see that being like a high-scoring game. I feel like it's just going to be like ground and pound, and everybody's getting the shit kicked out of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Sweet Baby J, we'll go with it.
J.
Cal drops 0-2.
So now, Clean Machine versus Lamar's Putter Knot. So we got Cleaner versus Brian here. And Man, this is a tough one because they both really did bad the first week.
Dude,
Like they both put up subpar 60-point games. So
again,
they
another running back thing.
They actually almost scored the same amount, 57.14 and 57.06.
Miles Sanders was the highest paid free agent running back this year, and you see Chuba Hubbard out there just collecting up carries. I don't get that. Again, weird stuff. I mean,
yeah, if I'm going based off matchups, I'm going Brian. That's the only thing I can go off of right now.
I'm going to go Brian because of the matchups as well. He's also got Mark Andrews coming back, and you got to think Lamar's going to do something different than what he just did. Maybe it's just like taking him a little bit of time to get that offense adjusted, everybody get used to it.
Yeah, I'm going Brian as well.
He also has Javonte Williams he could throw in there too. I mean, I don't know. Washington's D. Brian's team, I feel like, just underachieved pretty hard for some of the talent that he does have. If he gets Christian Watson back this week too, it'd be some major upgrades, I think.
I think it's upgrades. It's just like I said earlier. I think it's just the team looks like I would like this team on Madden. Like this is a fun team to have on Madden.
Yeah,
it's like you would hope that they would just do really well, and you'd be like, this team would freaking carry me to the Madden Super Bowl. But when I look at this, I'm just until I see those running backs do what they're supposed to do. I'm really scared of it, and the wide receivers as well.
Yeah, Queen Machine. I mean, it's kind of what we expected, right? $150. There's just not a lot to show for it. Got some shiny pieces in there, but you got to see. And there's a lot of if you look at his team, Justin Fields taught halfway through the year, but it's like consistency. You got to be able to replicate it again. Can he do it again this year? Same with Kenneth Walker. We know what Miles Sanders is about. Now he's on a shitty team compared to what he was just on. Godwin took a hit from Baker looked all right, but you're kind of banking on San Francisco getting up huge to get Elijah Mitchell out there. And then you want to talk about tight ends. Dude's rocking Noah Gray right now.
You got three tight ends.
Yeah,
He's the only team in the league right now with 3 tight ends.
Yeah, what are you doing, Queener? You got to get some more depth for some of your other pieces, man.
So, all right. So we're both taking.
And he's got 2 QBs too. Justin Fields and Bryce Young. Like, if you're going to spend $29 on Justin Fields, you better just be riding his ass. I got 1 QB, and it's Daniel Jones, and that dude shit the bed incredibly hard. But I'm not going to be adding 2 QBs.
Yeah, right, but you're going to be going out there getting Mac Jones. Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you could go get that cart, dude. He was just gunslinger.
Oh, man, dude. I never would have thought I'd be looking at Derek Carr to be my leading QB this year.
Yeah, let's see how he did last week.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like shit on TV.
I mean,
he actually did not bad. He just didn't have a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah.
Man of God.
All right, that's going to be a thought for myself later when I'm battling my own brain during the waiver wire process.
All right, so what's our next matchup here? Gobby versus Trone. What's their names again?
Oh, wait.
What?
Hold on.
You're on week 1. No, you're fine. All right, so we got the Huffs, Puffs, and the Trevs, the Robin Hogs.
Yeah. Cute little piggy.
So this one, let's see real quick. I'm going with Gobby's team. His team looked good. Yeah, obviously the Cowboys. Even if, like I said, if Cowboys didn't score 40+ points, he still would have put up about 90 points, which is still really good output.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to Gobby's got some better players. Like, I take Olave over, Devontae Smith, but he's just got more players that are better. And Trone's got some tough ass matchups this week. Dalvin against Dallas.
There's not a single matchup this week. And like what? So Trone's gonna be one of those guys probably, but we know Trone. He's a freaking penny pincher. He ain't gonna be splurging on those waivers, so he's not gonna get either one of those top 2 running backs. So he's gonna be rolling out like what, Jalen Warren, Charbonnet.
Yeah, which one do you think he goes with, or does he go and splurge on the waiver?
I know he's not splurging like everybody else will.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you'd have to go Warren because he's probably getting more. Oh God! Ooh,
man.
Unless he makes a trade, or it hits the waivers. I don't know, man. I mean, Trone's kind of in an interesting position. It's like you gotta waivers are tonight. I mean, it's like okay, you either decide to make a big splash now or kind of sit on it and see what kind of trade you can make.
You know. I'm taking So this one I got to take Gabi. I think he just got better matchups, better players.
Yeah,
and he's not really having to worry about who he's going to start. He's already got looks like his lineup's going to be locked.
But I will say, I mean, Trone has definitely stepped up in the trading aspect, and I bet that man is already analyzing, trying to get something going.
But I feel like last year the only reason he really stepped up was because Cleaner gave him all that money to work with on that Travis Kelce trade.
Well, no, but also before that trade even happened, he got Deebo Samuel. I remember I was having a bidding war for, I think it was Samuel at first, and then Garrett.
No, wasn't Travis Kelce was before that, right?
I don't think so, because Garrett sold up his team. I want to say like week 3 or something. It was pretty early on. Yeah, I mean, not the whole team. He just sold off his hog wide receivers. It might not have been week 3, but it was pretty early, like earlier than what we're in.
Diz, go to Deebo real quick. Go to Deebo real quick. I want to see this. Go to Deebo and let's look at his past. There's my boy. Okay, now let's go to. Does it show you on here? Like, it doesn't show you on. Wait, there we go. September 29th. So it was pretty early on, huh? Because he kept on the 3rd. So that was like week 4.
Yeah.
But I wonder would Trone have done it if he probably knew he was going to get that Kelce. So maybe he did it because he knew he was going to get the money back.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, Trone was the one who had Kelce already. Right, and then
no, I'm saying with that trade with Cleaner, I wonder if he does the Deebo trade because he knew he was getting that money back along with Kittle and all that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that would be interesting.
We don't know.
Man, look at that trade. Good Lord.
It'll never be forgotten.
Wow.
God.
Yeah.
Get that out of my sight.
Yeah, moving on.
All right, so what are we doing? We're doing Trone versus Gabi, and we took Gabi. So now we're on to the next, I think, right? Because I think we came to that consensus that
it's the last one.
Trone's struggling a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough to pick a team with a hole in its lineup.
Yeah, and so I think are we on the last one, which would be Dill versus Trike. So the Navy Steels versus the Analingus Incorporated.
It's for sale.
I do want to be a part of that corporation. I'll invest.
Man.
What? Who? How do you want to do this? You want me and Red to decide? Red picks?
You can give your input, Durtle.
Yeah, I'm going. Ooh, it's gonna be closer than I think, man. Like if Jerry Jeudy plays, that'd be nice because I don't think he wants to start Drake London because that was scary.
No, and Dill's got Breece Hall going up against the Dallas D, which was literally just an onslaught this Sunday.
Yeah, but dude, you have a Conquo going against the Chargers.
A freak.
I'm probably gonna go Trike on this one. I think Trike had a really good first week, and dude, it's just Patty Mahomes going against like Jacksonville. Like Jacksonville wasn't that good last week. I had their defense, but it was really they're just playing against Anthony Richardson, and they went for it on 4th down like 15 times and never got the first down. So I just got a bunch of points from those 4th down conversions.
Yeah. Plus he swapped out Ezekiel Elliott for Tyler Algier in the upcoming week.
Yeah.
So I mean they have a pretty good defense, but apparently Atlanta loves Tyler Algier for some reason, or they just want to give him all studies. So.
Tyler Algier had 1,000 rushing yards last year.
Yeah,
he was pretty good.
Yeah,
it's crazy because they go on draft this Bijan, but it's like, man, you had a pretty serviceable running back. Like, they didn't have a problem at running back last year.
No, it is weird. Like, why they don't have a QB? I was kind of surprised they didn't try to get a QB for having that high of a pick instead of going Bijan. I don't know. Maybe that's the whole plan. Just run as much as they can. They're living like back in the 60s and 70s where it's just like run the ball. That's how you win. But usually you have to usually you have to have a defense to back it up, and their defense is ass.
Damn. Well, it seems like we're going with
I like Trike in this, but it could be closer depending on, like you said, Jerry Jeudy plays, and then also on top of that, like, does Brandon Ayuk do the same thing he did the first week, or you kind of come back down to earth? But I know this is gonna be a big Bengals week, so I'm expecting Joe Burrow to put up at least 3 touchdown passes. So it's a good possibility Jamar Chase gets in on that, along with the Higgins system. So
better be getting in on it. God,
like, dude, what? Ass play.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened with that Bengals team. I mean, Joe gets paid, and then all of a sudden it's just like, all right, we're not going to do anything now. And no, it won't let me live it down either. He keeps bringing up the weather thing. Yes, no, I know. It's not an excuse. I'm just like, it looks like dog shit out there. Everybody was struggling to do anything.
True. It was not good. I was not enjoying that game at all.
But you know what, Nut? If you want to give me a weekly weather report for Jamar Chase's games, you go right ahead on it, buddy. Add a little sprinkle of that in there.
Says it's going to be sunny.
Well, thank God, dude. Sounds like a big game then. Yeah. Woo!
It's going to be sunny. Is Joe Burrow going to, hopefully he's not just, sleeping in his laying in his bed of money all night long with a bunch of, strippers and stuff, and he's, just focusing on the game plan?
Bro, he's going to be wearing his shades on the field.
I hope so. That'd be awesome. Maybe it comes out like Michael Vick back in the day when he started rocking the visor,
Hell yeah.
Just the freaking black visor in the front. You can't even see his eyeballs.
That would be tight.
Still, that drops you to 0-2 to start the season. How's that make you feel?
I remember last year just losing the first week, and it's kind of similar. Jesse took a dump on me. I think I won the next game at least. It doesn't make me feel great. I hate starting off that way, but again, it's all about you manage your team throughout the season. I'm gonna keep pounding my pud to that. So
I'm just gonna keep pounding my pud.
There's gonna be, we're talking about the Nut Report and those rankings shaking up. I mean, there's gonna be I still am thinking the same thing. There's gonna be a lot of trades this year. It's gonna be a lot of shakeups happening. So I'm not overly concerned. It's week 1. I'm not, dude. Jamar Chase, Amari Cooper, shit in the bed
fuck week
like
1,
that.
dude. Fuck it.
Yeah, dude.
Forget about it. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Yeah, we're over it. So I feel fine. Am I annoyed? Yes. But am I shaking in my boots? No. We've been here. Champion's been here before. We know how to act.
Oh, yeah. He's a different breed.
That's right, baby. 3-time champion. You see it down there?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Bread made of steel.
But yes, I'm definitely going to need the team to step up compared to what we're doing right now. Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we got.
Yeah, that's it. Perfect.
There we go.
Don't forget now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It was an interesting week 1. Again, some excitement. I'm glad the juice is already flowing. I love those close matchups, the comebacks. It was great. We'll see what happens.
That was nice.
We got our first waiver wire tonight. Don't really know how that's going to play out either.
A lot of money.
Should be exciting, though.
Yeah. Everybody blow your load.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
All right.
So,
all right, boys.
All I know is I got to hop off here. I got Gobby time right after this. I feel like I'm on ESPN.
Gobby time,
like
Gobby Talks.
Hopping from one show. Gobby Talks. Yeah, I'm like losing
Gobby
track.
time.
Yeah, Gobby time with Gobby Talks. Well, yeah, and so you guys will be seeing that. Shout out to the Podly, of course, Nut. Always love the content.
Shout out to
And
Diz for helping out with this. I like
yeah,
that.
thank you,
I
Durtle.
like the navigation
Thanks
of the
for having me
screen.
on here, guys. I've had a great time playing around with all these little tools.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
and
get familiar.
again, we're still kind of working out the mechanisms of StreamYard. I think it's gonna get better from here. So it'll be exciting to have Diz on here. And
I think this is our longest show we've ever done. We're at an hour and 15 minutes.
yeah, pretty much. I know. Woo, dude. We are the Ramblers.
Yeah. I can fade us out if you're ready.
All right.
All right, boys. Get taught.
Go get him, Goose.